So now let us study about the gravitational force with an example. This is a ball or a stone. If you throw it vertically upward, will it remain constant or will it change with time? How it will change? And why does the stone will move all the time up, or it will fall down after reaching at a certain maximum height h? So as you have studied earlier that Earth attracts every object towards itself because of the gravitational force. The center of mass of the Earth is situated at its center. So the gravitational force on any object due to Earth is always directed towards the center. So similarly, if we throw this ball which is moving vertically upward, the force tries to pull it in a downward direction, hence reducing its velocity. Due to this constant downward pull by the gravity, the ball after certain time it will reach at the surface of the Earth in its original position where the velocity is 0. This we have studied about the gravitational force. Now we will study something about the gravity. See, Earth gravitational acceleration. What do you mean by Earth's gravitational acceleration? The acceleration produced in a body due to the gravitational force of the Earth is called a acceleration due to gravity, which is denoted by small g, which is g. This is gravity which is exerted by the Earth. So now we can find out the value of g on the surface of the Earth. So here as I have written, we can calculate g with the Newton's universal law of gravitation for an object of mass m situated at a distance r from the center of the Earth. F equals to g m upon r square, which is law of gravitation. This is given by Newton's gravitational law, which we have introduced earlier. F equals to m into g, which is Newton's second law. See, you know F equals to ma, which is Newton's second law, but here we are considering acceleration which is due to gravity, so a is replaced by g. So F is equals to mg. Equating this equation 1 and 2, we get mg equals to gmm upon r square. By cancelling this m from both the sides, we get g equals to gm upon r square. Label it as equation 3. Whereas this r is the radius of the Earth, which is 6.4 into 10 to the power 6 meter. Capital M is the mass of the Earth, which is 6 into 10 to the 24 kg. Small g is acceleration due to gravity, as I have earlier said, and capital G is gravitational constant g, which is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. This you have introduced earlier. The value of g and the radius and the mass is being calculated. So substituting these values, all three values in this equation, we get this. Substituting all this value, multiplying this factor and squaring 6.4, we get 40.96. Now this is 24 minus 11 will be 13 and 6 square will be 12. Dividing this 2, we get 0.977 into 10 to the power 13, and this 12, if we will take upward, it will become minus 12. So it will become 0.977 into 10, because 13 minus 12 will be 1 10 will be remaining. Now multiply this with this, then it will be 9.77 meter per second square. This is the value of g, which is 9.7 meter per second, and it is same everywhere. And this value of g, it depends upon the mass, which is capital M, and r, mass and radius of the earth. So the mass and the radius of the earth is same, so it will not change, so it is constant, that is 9.77 meter per second square. Somewhere we can take as 9.8 meter per second. We can round it off these numbers. Here based are some question related to gravity. Just look on it. What will happen if there is no gravity? If there is no gravity means there will be no gravitational force, which is this. Gravitational force will not be there. And if gravitational force is not there, the two objects earlier which were attracting towards each other, now it will not attract towards each other, because the gravity is zero. Because there is no gravity, so the objects will fly off. What will happen if the value of g will twice as larger? If the gravitational force will also be the double and the value of g will also be double. If the g is twice, see, if this g is twice, it is directly proportional to the force. So the force will also be double. And from this equation, the relation between capital G and small g, this is gravitational constant and this is acceleration due to gravity g. If g is double, obviously this acceleration due to gravity will also be double, because it is directly proportional. Okay, now the third question. What would be the value of g on the surface of the earth if its mass will twice as large as its radius is half of what it is now? If the value of g on the surface of the earth would be 8 times the present value. See, they have said that the mass is double and the radius is half. So the formula is this: g equals to gm upon r square. So let us take g1 gm1 by r1 square and g2 as gm2 r2 square. So equating this to g2 upon g1, it will be m2 upon m1 r1 upon r2 the whole square. As mass, it was said it is twice, so it will be 2, and the radius, which is half, so it will be 2 square, because here it is square, so it come up to 8. So acceleration due to gravity g is 8 times greater. Okay. So now we will study about the variation in value of g. How the value of g changes. First is change along the surface of the earth. What do you think? Is earth is spherical? No. The shape of the earth is not exactly spherical, so that the distance of a point on the surface and the earth from its center differs somewhat from place to place. Means due to when the earth is rotating around the sun, due to this rotation, the earth bulges at the equator and it is flattens at the poles. See, it is bulged at the equator and it is flattened at the poles. So the radius is largest at the equator and smallest at the poles. So if you consider this as the center, so the radius is largest at the equator and it is smallest at the poles. So the value of g is highest, that is 9.832 meter per second square at the poles, and lowest, that is 9.78 meter per second square at the equator. This was change along the surface of the earth. Now what is the change with its height? As we go above the earth's surface, the value of r will increase and the value of g will decrease. For example, if you take an aeroplane is flying at a height of 10 km above the surface of the earth, it is the distance will be, what is the radius of earth? It is 6400 km. In the last example that we have solved, radius of earth is 6400 km. So if aeroplane is flying at 10 km, so it will become 6410 km. Hence this change is negligible because only 10 km is been added. So the change is very negligible. You can consider the value of g will be same. It will not differ much. But if you consider an artificial satellite which is orbiting around the earth, then the value of g will depend upon the height. How much height from the surface of the earth the satellite is orbiting. Here we have one example table that you can see. See, this is the height and this is the value of g. From the surface of earth, value of g is 9.8 and Mount Everest it is 8.8, g is 9.8. Maximum height reached at man-made balloon is 36.6 and the value of g is 9.77. Height of a typical weather satellites 400 and the g is 8.7. Height of a communication satellite 35700 and g is 0.225. See, if you increase the height, see, the gravity decreases. Okay, means if you radius it will increase, if you increase the height it will increase by this, whereas g equals to gm upon your r will become r plus h. You are increasing this height. So while you are increasing the height, the value of g will decrease because it is inversely proportional. Okay, now here the change with the depth. The value of g also changes if we go inside the earth. See how it is possible. You are considering this g equals to gm upon r square. This is the formula which is being given, right? So now look, if this is the earth, this is the center of the earth, you are at surface of the earth, so it is gm upon r square. But if you go inside the earth, if you are somewhere here, the radius is being decreased, so you will tell that the g will be increasing, right? But it is not that. According to formula, if you see, you will say that if r is decreasing, g must increase. Yes, it is right. But if you are considering at this point the radius is decreased, even this mass is also decreased whole. So the combined effect of mass and the radius, if you consider, the value of g will decrease inside the surface of the earth. Okay, so change with depth is g also decreases as you go inside the earth, changes with the height and at the changes along the surface of the earth. Here is something about the mass and the weight. What is mass? Mass of a body is the amount of matter present in it, and weight of a body is the force with which the earth attracts. So it is magnitude, but it doesn't have its direction. So it is a scalar quantity. It has both magnitude and direction, hence it is a vector quantity. It does not changes from place to place. It changes from place to place. it can never be 0. It is 0 at the center of the earth. The SI unit is kilogram, that is kg, and the SI unit is Newton, that is N. F equals to mg. You can find out from this calculation. Force equals to mass into this gravity g. If your mass is 75 multiplied by g 9.8, then it will be 735 Newton. If you have to calculate it in terms of Newton, you can calculate your mass as well. What is your mass? Multiply by the gravity. That much Newton of force you are exerting, isn't it? Try this at your house. Calculate your mass and multiply it with the gravity and found out the force in Newton. Now we will consider the example. If a person weighs 750 Newton on the earth, how much would be the weight on the moon? The given moon mass is 1 upon 81 times that of the earth, and its radius is 1 upon 3.7 of that of the earth. So the weight on the earth is 750 Newton. The ratio of the mass of earth, that is me, to the mass of the moon, that is capital M by M, me by mm, equals to 81. The ratio of the radius of earth re to the radius of moon rm is re upon rm, which is equals to 3.7 given. Let us mass of a person be m kg. So weight on the earth is mg equals to 750 g m me upon re square, where m equals to 750 re square upon gme. Weight on the moon is mgmm upon rm square. So dividing this two, we get weight on moon divided by weight on earth equals to mgmm upon rm square. This is about the moon, and re square upon gme. Now this capital G will get cancel out from both the side, and this weight we will go in this side because we have to find out the weight of the person on moon. So the weight on the person on moon will be equal to 750 re square upon gme into gmm upon rm square, which is equals to 750 re we will take, and me mm upon me, which is equals to, now substituting this values, ratios of radius and the ratio of mass, we will get 750 into 3.7 square into 1 by 81, which is 126.8 Newton. Similarly, the weight on the moon is nearly 1/6 the weight on the earth, which means that if you jump 6 times on the moon as that on the earth. Now about the free fall. What do you mean by free fall? Whenever an object moves under the influence of the force of the gravity alone, it is said to be free falling. Here there are some kinematics equation. V equals to u plus at, s equals to ut plus half at square, v square equals to u square plus 2as. When object is free falling, we are telling that it is due to the gravity alone, and we are not producing its initial velocity, so the initial velocity will be 0, and acceleration due to gravity a will be changed into g because it is acceleration due to gravity. Substituting a equals to g and v equals to 0, we get v equals to gt, s equals to half gt square, v square equals to 2gs. So about the free falling, it is possible only in vacuum, because if a normally body is falling freely, there are other forces such as the frictional force and the air opposition force, which is buoyancy force, which will act on the object. So for a true free fall, it is only possible under the vacuum. Say if we are calculating motion of a body which is thrown upward, the acceleration is negative. If particle is thrown upward, the acceleration will be negative because it is against the direction opposite to that of its velocity. And while it is free falling, it is in the same direction as a value of g, so it will be g. So this is symbol that you have to consider while you are solving the example, then where you have to take gravity as negative and where it will be positive. It is depending upon what you are throwing the ball in upward direction or the ball is free falling in the downward direction. Now let us take one example. An iron ball of mass 3 kg is released from an height 125 meter and falls freely to the ground. Assuming that the G is 10 meter per second square. Calculate the time taken by the ball to reach the ground. The velocity of the ball on reaching the ground. The height of the ball at half of the time it takes on reaching the ground. First we will solve what is the time taken. The mass is 3 kg. The distance travelled by ball S is 125 meter. Initial velocity of the ball, which is 0 because it is free falling, and acceleration, which is acceleration due to gravity, g, that is 10 meter per second square. Using Newton's second equation of motion, s equals to ut plus half at square, whereas s is 125, initial velocity 0 into t plus half, acceleration is 10 into t square, which is equals to now 5t square, and t square equals to 125 divided by 5, which is 25. Therefore t is equals to 5 seconds. So ball takes 5 seconds to reach the ground. Then the second was, according to Newton's first equation of motion, v equals to u plus at, u equals to 0, acceleration is 10 into the time, which is 50 meter per second. So the velocity of a ball on reaching the ground is 50 meter per second. And the third was, we have to find out the height when the time is half. So t equals to 5 by 2, which is 2.5 second. Ball at the time will be s. According to Newton's second equation of motion, s equals to ut plus half at square, whereas s equals to 0 plus half into 10 into 2.5 square, which is equals to 31.25 meter. Thus the height of the ball at half of the time will be 125 minus 31.25, which is 93.75 meter. Why? Because the height, total height is given 125. So we have to subtract this height 31.25 to get the height of the ball at half of its time.